Hi everyone, this is Sam here with Level Up Healing, and I wanted to come on here and kind of explain my experience with overcoming PTSD, depression, and all that fun stuff. I had recently released a video about understanding the subconscious mind and how it works, and how sometimes, even though it helps us so much, it really works against us. When we're trying to make a change. Even working with some of my clients the last couple of weeks, people are really struggling. The holidays or the winter season can be very hard for a lot of people. And sometimes they feel like they're getting crazy. And when I give them information as to why they're not insane, it's just how we condition our subconscious mind and our body, it makes things a little easier. So I think I've experienced a lot of fun things in my life, meaning I've gone through a lot, I've overcome a lot. I've been to hell and back, and then I decided to vacation back to hell and come back, and then another time I went again. And every single time I would go through these experiences, I would learn something new, and it would help me through the next time I experience something hard in my life. I'm not going to give you my entire life story because we'll be here all day, but I'll kind of give you a little bit of background. Since I was 5 years old, I've had PTSD, a lot of abuse growing up, in high school, bullied in high school, or not in high school, middle school. Middle school was a bad time. I think I've met one person who's actually had a good experience in high school or middle school. So, and then a few other trauma things in high school and when I was in college. When I was 23 years old, something happened that opened my eyes, involved a teacher. He threw himself at me. I got away, but I was just I remember crying on the way home, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I always find myself in victim situations? And I realized that I had this epiphany. Who knows if it was God, the universe, or just, I don't know. It was if you keep acting like a victim, you're going to find yourself in victim situations. And that clicked with me. So I changed my mindset. I thought more positive. Instead of being a victim, I said I was a warrior. I didn't say I was a survivor, because that does nothing for me. But if you choose to use a survivor, you can use that. So I said I was a warrior. The only issue I had with that is I did not feel my feelings. I suppressed my feelings still. Whenever I had something negative, I would suppress. And what I do when I'm upset or I feel like I'm vulnerable, I suppress, or not suppress, I self-sabotage a lot. I push people away, I get really angry, and all that fun stuff. So even though I was changing my mindset, I really wasn't doing anything. Fast forward to 2018, I am a police officer at the time, and I think I'm 2 years in, and I'm just struggling. So I'm struggling from my PTSD that I already had, that I haven't really fully addressed and healed from. And I was dealing with stuff at work, a lot of sexual harassment, not from the department I was at, but the surrounding departments. And there's a few situations I got into that kind of, I didn't really like. I held on to it a little bit, and being a police officer, you're not allowed to be vulnerable. And you're supposed to be like this tough guy or tough girl, and being a female in male-dominated fields, you can't let things bother you. And talking to people who aren't in law enforcement, they just don't understand. So I had all that bottling up. So my personal life, I was in a really bad relationship, a very toxic relationship. So my world started crashing down. I couldn't suppress anymore. I was tapped out, and I was really depressed. I isolated myself, and I wanted to kill myself. I didn't really have a plan. I was more worried about the resale value of my house than if I was gonna do it, which is so bad. But I thought about doing it, and that really scared the shit out of me. And I was like, okay, maybe this positive thinking I'm a warrior, it just isn't really working. Maybe I need to address this. When I went, and that's pretty much when I was going to talk about like my situation with like doctor. Again, I don't want this to be like this whole video, but essentially the doctor gave me drugs. Like, here's a anti-anxiety medication, but if you take it, you're going to sleep for 6 hours or 16 hours, and that just didn't work for me. I was a patrol officer at the time, and I can't sleep. So that didn't work out for me, and that's kind of how I found Reiki, because it was a natural way, and I was desperate for anything. I would try anything. I just didn't want to feel this way anymore. And it was probably the best thing that happened to me, but nobody really told me why I was going to be, how do I want to word this? It got worse before it got better. I was a hot mess. I was constantly crying. I was angry all the time. I was mean, but that was just I didn't realize that was just my subconscious mind trying to prevent me from getting better. But I overcame it. I learned how to feel my feelings. I changed my mindset. And after 6 months, I actually felt better. And I noticed a huge improvement in my life. And I felt fantastic, honestly. And how it goes when you feel really good, like when people take antidepressants and they start feeling better, they stop taking it. So I felt fantastic. So even though I still I was doing Reiki every once in a while, I wasn't really paying attention to my thoughts, and I wasn't paying attention to how I was feeling. I was suppressing again. And it was that whole mentality, you can't be a victim, or you can't be vulnerable, not a victim. Well, yeah, you can't be a victim, but you can't be vulnerable in a law as a police officer. So let's fast forward to 2021. I don't know what was happening this year, but this felt like the year of limiting beliefs. It was uncovering things that no longer served me. And it was probably the best year and the worst year, all wrapped up in a tiny bow. I was no longer a police officer. I left the end of 2020. I left at the end of 2020, as that's when I left being a police officer. And so 2021 was just like I was kind of decompressing from being in law enforcement, kind of healing from that. But I was still dealing with stuff that I didn't realize I was holding on to, old beliefs that that no longer served me. Like I wasn't good enough. I was afraid to pursue a career with energy healing and mindset coaching because I was afraid of what other people thought. Like, who cares? Well, now I don't care. But then in May of this year of 2021, I was at a local store, and I saw one of the men who attacked me when I was younger. And I've always imagined what I would do if I ever saw one of these guys. I would definitely yell at them, kick them in the balls, punch them in the face, beat them up. I imagined what I would do. And I did the opposite. I froze. I was terrified. I remember being in the store, and I froze, and I was terrified, and I just I couldn't move. So one, that was embarrassing for me, because here I am, I was a police officer for 5 years, and I have all this training, and I froze. I shouldn't do that. I wasn't trained to do that. And I thought about doing this my entire life, like what I would do. I wouldn't say kill him, but I would hurt him very badly. So my life started to unravel because I was embarrassed that I allowed this person to have so much power over me, even after all these years. I'm in my 30s, and this man still has power over me. And I was a police officer, and I shouldn't have let this happen. And it was almost like there were some things, in hindsight I can kind of see it now, but there were some things that were dormant inside of me, waiting for the perfect opportunity to unleash. And it did. And my subconscious mind was just waiting patiently, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to release all this stuff. So not only was I embarrassed and shameful for the reaction I had when I saw him, but I had all the shame, the guilt, the pain from all my trauma, from when I was 5, 6 to growing up to that point now that I haven't even dealt with, which I thought I dealt with. I did not handle it very well. I think the first 2 weeks, I was overwhelmed with the feeling. I felt shame. I was embarrassed. I hated myself. I didn't think I was lovable. Like, I had feelings like I wasn't lovable. I was undeserving. Nobody would want to be with me. No one would want to be around me. You should just be alone. I'm worthless, I'm broken. That's why nobody would want to be with me or stay with me or anything like that. It was harsh. My subconscious mind was going crazy. After some time, I snapped out of it. I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, whoa. It was like I was hypnotized almost. And I came out of it. I was like, what? And I think it was a week or two. I was like, okay, I need to overcome this. Like, I have all this knowledge. I teach people this, how to do in these situations. Let's put it into practice. So I started feeling my feelings, and I think shame is probably the worst feeling to ever feel. And I sat with it, and it was awful. It was uncomfortable. I hated every minute of it, but I did it anyways. I felt my emotions. So if I cried, I cried. I was changing my thoughts, and I was recognizing when I felt worse, that was just my subconscious mind trying to bring me down. I had random memories pop up, and I was like, wow. I was like, subconscious mind, what are you doing? Knock it off. I did my best not to be tempted by what my subconscious mind was doing, because it was like the feeling was getting greater and greater, and the thoughts were getting worse and worse. And I was almost like an observer. Like, I was watching these, I was reading the thoughts, but I was feeling the emotion, and the subconscious mind's like, come on, just give in. Go on, give in. You're going to feel so much better when you do. And it was so tempting. I wanted to give up so many times. And because I was struggling with that, I was very angry. I self-sabotaged. I pushed people away. I wanted to be alone. I was destroying is a harsh word, but I was destroying relationships with everybody. And how I can think of the feeling that I felt is, if you ever had a craving for something, a food craving, and say the food is actually in your house, and you just brush your teeth. You're like, no, I can't. I just brushed my teeth. I'm not going to do it. And you just like, you get that pull towards it. You're like, no. And your subconscious mind's kind of like, come on, go ahead. Just eat it. And you're like, I just brushed my teeth. They're like, that's okay. It's pudding or ice cream. You're not chewing anything. So technically your teeth aren't dirty. Like, that's just some of the things that your subconscious mind will do. And then when you give in, all the feeling, it like disappears, and you just feel a sense of relief. I don't know if I said release or relief. So that's what my subconscious mind was doing. It was creating intense feeling of shame and guilt and unworthiness, and telling me that I wasn't worthy and no one should care. You shouldn't get better because no one's gonna. Why? Just telling me to give into it. And I did. I self-sabotaged a lot. I was mean. I was mean because it was just hard for me to process all these feelings, and I didn't want to be vulnerable, and being vulnerable was one of the hardest things for me. It's one of my, like, I don't want to be vulnerable. It was so hard. I always self-sabotage when I become vulnerable. I'm just not used to it because I spent my whole life trying to get away from being vulnerable. So reprogramming all that, it takes some time. So I was paying attention to my thoughts. I was overcoming small little battles. And by the time August rolled around, I was feeling better. The subconscious mind would disappear for a little bit, like the pain and the intense emotion would disappear for a short time, and then it would come back in full swing. But during that time, that I wanted to mention is that I didn't know how to act around people. I think whenever you are interacting with people and you're in this state, you just don't know what to do, because I would be going to social gatherings, and I felt fear, and I felt shame and I felt unworthy. And it's kind of hard to pretend like you're happy or socialize with people when you feel that way. So I was getting, and it's not like I didn't have fun or I didn't want to be there. My body wouldn't allow me to not feel that way, not to get rid of it. So people would criticize me. Why are you so guarded? Why are you so quiet? You act like you don't want to be there. And it's like, it's not that. I'm going through something, and I didn't want to tell people what I was going through, like friends and everything. Probably should have, but whatever. Only a few people knew. So I did start, so that was a side note. So moving forward, August I started feeling better, and I eventually told someone, I think October? Well, I started noticing there were changes. Things weren't bothering me anymore. I was letting things go. I was starting to feel, I wasn't feeling happy, but it was like instead of feeling the shame and the unworthy, I felt sad, which is 10 times better than shame. So sad was there, but it felt pretty good. And so I was slowly moving up the emotional train. When I eventually got the courage to be open about my past, I told someone everything about my past that I've never told anyone, and I was very open and honest. It was very hard for me to do, and I immediately self-sabotaged afterward. I can't be vulnerable, but it was probably the greatest thing that ever happened. That helped me in my healing process. I was just open and honest. I didn't feel judged. I felt fantastic afterwards. And I lost my train of thought, but now at the last week of 2021, I don't have those feelings. Don't get emotional. I don't have those feelings anymore. I do not want to cry, but I do feel, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Woo! I do feel worthy. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. I do feel worthy. I do feel like I am deserving of amazing things. I do feel lovable. I do feel like I can be loved. I don't feel broken. And I feel like a badass bitch that can do anything that I want. And I don't care about what other people think. And I feel I don't have that fear anymore. I just feel free. And for anybody who is overcoming a mental illness, overcoming depression, anxiety, PTSD, you can freaking do it. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. And you're gonna feel like you're going insane. You are. And it's definitely gonna get worse before it gets better. But understanding that your subconscious mind, we programmed our subconscious mind to feel this way, to have these thoughts, kind of makes it easier, kind of. But knowing that, okay, we did this and our subconscious mind is just trying to keep us in this state that we taught it to do, okay, well, let's reprogram. Let's change the way, or change, I can't think of the word, change the process. So it's gonna suck. It's going to, you're gonna want to give up so many times. I gave up a few times, especially over the summer. I gave up a few times, but I got right back up. I tried so much self-love. So much self-love. It's okay, you know, you're going through a lot. And when I finally felt better, I apologized to a lot of people. I apologize. And, you know, a lot of people were understanding, and they're like, we get it, you know, you're going through a lot. And some people, they did understand, but the damage was already done, and it is what it is at that point. But you can do it. You can do it. And yeah, I don't know how to end this, so I'm just gonna keep on rambling. But yeah, so if you're struggling with anything and you feel like you're in hell right now, well, you're healing. Just treat it as you're healing and you're doing great. take it one day at a time, and you might piss people off with your self-sabotaging, your anger, and pushing people away, and that's okay. Don't get mad at yourself over it. You can always apologize later. It's all right. Most people will understand. Just have more knowledge about what your subconscious mind is doing will help. And I'm rambling, and I think I made all the points that I wanted to make. I don't know. So if not, I will put it in the description, and let's make 2022 our best year yet. Why am I crying? I'm getting emotional. Let's have fun. Let's have fucking fun. And I'm probably gonna cut that out. Let's have fun. Let's be our true selves. Let's not worry about what other people think. Let's heal ourselves. And it's okay if we fail. Get back right. Get up. Get right. Get up back. I'm dyslexic. I don't know what I'm doing. Stand back up. So hopefully my mini story kind of helps you in the perspective of going through a change, overcoming PTSD, overcoming depression. Hopefully this helps you. Today I can, whenever I do get upset or have a trigger or anything, I handle it so well. It might last a couple of hours instead of a couple of days or weeks. So I think I'm done rambling. I don't know how to end this, but yeah, let's heal ourselves, and let's have a badass 2022. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.